Then there are also the angels who are appointed to record the deeds of people. Where there are angels who are guarding people, then there are also angels who are recording our deeds. What are their names? What are their names? Kiraman Katibin. What does that mean? Kiraman, those who are noble, honorable, worthy of respect. And why are they noble? Because they're obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The angels, what brings them nobility and honor is their obedience. And shaitan, what brings him disgrace and humility is what? And humiliation is what? His disobedience. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Rajim is one who is pelted with stones, expelled. Get out of here. Why? Because of his disobedience. So what makes a person honorable is obedience. And what humiliates a person and disgraces him is disobedience. So anyway, kiraman katibin. Kiraman, those who are noble, and katibin, those who write. What do they write, these angels? Which deeds? All the deeds, good or bad. Allah says, وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ لَحَافِظِينَ كِرَامًا كَاتِبِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. They know whatever that you do. Anything that you do. In private or in public. They know about it. Even our intentions actually, the angels are familiar with that. They don't have that barrier. Because in Hadith we learn that when a person intends to do something good, then the angel is commanded to write that as a good deed. And when a person actually performs that good action, then the angel records it as 10 good deeds. When a person intends to do something evil, then the angel is told, hold back, don't write anything yet. For when a person performs that evil, then the angel records it as one sin. And if he decides to not do it, he changes his mind, then it is written as one good deed. And you know, when a person commits a sin, the angel is actually told, hold back for 6 sa'at, for 6 hours. Meaning, hold your pen back for 6 hours. Don't write anything. Wait. If within those 6 sa'at, a person feels bad and he repents to Allah and seeks forgiveness, the angel throws that sin away, meaning he doesn't record it. And if a person doesn't repent to Allah, doesn't seek forgiveness, then the angel has no choice but to write it down. Now imagine those noble angels. What are we making them write? What are we making them write? Random, useless things, or really actions that are, or words that are meaningful? I mean, think about it. Every day, whatever that we do, whether we cry or we scream, whether we yell or we talk politely, whether we say nice, kind words or we say hurtful words, whether we're just staring at nothing or we're looking at something beautiful, whatever we are doing, meaningful or meaningless, everything the angels are recording. And these angels are noble angels. So we should at least appreciate those angels and make them write something that is good. Right? Like for example, if somebody asks you, can you type for me? You type really fast, so can you please type for me? And they say sure. Or rather you say sure. And they tell you, okay, type. And they start telling you these random words that don't even make any sense. Or random things that are meaningless for you to type. Wouldn't you get upset and bored? Wouldn't you want to get away from that person? That you're wasting my time. The angels can't do that because they're appointed. But at least we should have some courtesy towards those angels and perform those actions which they will actually enjoy writing. This is why we learned that once some women, they were continuously talking, chatting away, like many women do. Aisha radiallahu anha, she said to them, give your angels a break. Let your angels take some rest. What nonsense are you talking about? Give them a break. So the angels, kiraman katibin, humble, obedient servants of Allah, they're busy writing. In the narration we learned that Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, everything that you say, good or bad, is written down. Even when a person says, I ate, I drank, I went, I came, everything is written down. And then every Thursday, all that a person did or said is examined. And whatever is good or bad is recorded, and the rest is erased. Meaning then whatever is going to be counted is either those actions, those words that are going to bring reward to a person, or those actions, those words that are going to be a source of punishment for him. So only the good deeds and the bad deeds are going to be kept. The rest, nonsense, is erased. Now think about it. If our day is at 24 hours, what is it that our day is filled with? Think of your day as a jar. Okay? As a jar. You have the option of leaving it empty, filling it with money, or filling it with stones. It's up to you. You have all the money available to you. You have all the stones available to you. And you also have the option of leaving that jar empty. If you leave that jar empty, isn't that a waste? You could fill that jar with money. I mean, all the money is there. All you have to do is just pick that money up and put it in the jar. If you did that, you left the jar empty, you would be considered a wise, intelligent person? No, we wouldn't be considered like that. Right? If we fill that jar with garbage, with stones, something that is going to be a source of burden for us later, that is also a waste. If you have the opportunity of filling that jar with money every day, stuff it with money, why wouldn't we? Why shouldn't we rather? We have that chance. I heard this example somewhere which really made a lot of sense to me. That think of every hour as a box. Every hour of a day, each hour of a day, take it as a box. In one day you get 24 boxes to pack. And it's up to you. Pack anything. Anything. Leave them empty, fill them with garbage, or fill them with useful things. It's up to you. Just pack. Fill them up. Some people, they fill them with random things. Some people, they fill them with junk. Some people, they fill them with meaningful things. Has it ever happened with you that you give a bag to your child that, okay, pack your stuff because we're going somewhere? And what do they pack it with? Whatever they like. Toys, blanket, toilet paper, because they like it, right? And then you're like, what have you put in here? It's a waste. Take this out, take this out, take this out, right? You have limited, weight allowance, so you should only put those things which you really need, which are really meaningful. It happens with many people that when they're traveling abroad and they're taking their things with them, and if some family member comes to help them with their packing, they're like, what is this? Why are you taking this with you? And why are you taking that with you? Useless things. Don't you get this over there? Right? They always ask you, don't you get food in Pakistan? Why do you have to take these nuts? Right? Don't you get this in Pakistan? Why are you taking this? Right? They don't understand. But every person realizes that if you have a limited amount of space, then you should only fill it with what is really important. Likewise are our lives and the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. It's not unlimited. We have a limited amount of days on this earth. A limited amount of time on this earth. If we spend 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, every day in just sleeping, that is 1/3 of our lives. If we spend another 8 hours a day in fulfilling our needs, like taking a shower and getting ready and doing our hair and cleaning our house, how much time do we have left to do something that is of importance? Another 8 hours maybe? That's just 1/3 of our lives. And if that also, we spend how that our prayers, we are rushing through them, our sunnah, we are skipping, our Quran recitation, we're putting off, we're delaying to the next day, next day, next day. Our Quran study or studying the religion, we're delaying, deferring till later. Who knows? That later might never come. It might never come. The time to act is now. We all know about people who, in their young age, have lost their lives. How much time do we have left? Allahu A'lam. Every single day is precious. Every single moment is precious. So we should really realize the value of this time and use it for what is most important. Because think about it, this life is short. And then when a person will be in his grave, that time is going to be very long. Very long. We learn about a righteous person that after his test in the grave, he is told by the angels, sleep. Sleep like a newlywed person who is only awakened by the one who is most beloved to him. Meaning, now you take rest. Now you take rest. So there's a lot of time to sleep in the grave. Really, there is. There's so much enjoyment and pleasure in Jannah that it's unlimited. It's unlimited, which is why Jannah is forever and ever and ever. Because no matter how much a person has enjoyed, that enjoyment is never going to finish. Dunya is not a place of enjoyment. It is not a place of rest. This is a place of work, of sa'i, of effort, doing something, so that a person can rest later and enjoy later. Because if a person spends his entire life enjoying and having fun, it will be nothing compared to the enjoyment of the hereafter. In a hadith we learn that a person will be just dipped in hellfire, meaning made to experience the punishment of hellfire for just a few moments. And this person was who? Someone who had everything he wanted in the world. And when he'll be taken out of hellfire, Allah will ask him, did you ever enjoy anything? And that person will say, never. Never. I never enjoyed anything. He will forget that enjoyment of 60, 80 years will be meaningless compared to those few moments of punishment in hellfire. And a person who will have suffered a lot of difficulties and trials in this life will be dipped into Jannah for a few moments and taken out, and Allah will ask him, did you suffer from anything? Ever? And a person will say, never. He will forget about all his suffering, all his pains, because it will all be gone once he will experience the pleasure of Jannah, the enjoyments that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for His servants over there. So really, this place is a place of striving, of working. This is not a place of enjoyment and having fun. Doesn't mean that entertainment, having fun is not permissible. It is permissible, but only as much as is necessary. Not that every day is spent on just beautifying our bodies, in beautifying our homes, in improving the quality of our lives. No, there's more to life than just stuff. There's more to life than makeup and clothes. There's more to life than the things of this world. Because the things of this world, they are very, very disappointing. Very disappointing. If you spend your entire day in cleaning your house, at the end of the day you're like, nice, alhamdulillah, perfect. Now it's all set for my guests who are going to come tomorrow. Your back is hurting, your fingers, that skin is drying up, right? And then what happens the next day when the guests come and their kids come? What happens to that lovely shining floor? Dirty again? What happens to all those dishes? They're dirty again, right? So the things of this world, they're not satisfying. They're not. And if a person makes them his main worry and concern, then he will suffer a lot. He will suffer a lot, because when a person makes this dunya his hum, his gham, his worry, his concern, then he's left to this world. Then he's never satisfied. And every day, he's just striving to improve his worldly life. But will it ever improve? Will it ever reach that level of perfection? No. You see this in your body also, right? You put beautiful makeup on, everything, but what happens? You wash it away, it's gone. Those few $100s that you paid to get that perfect makeup on your wedding day, eventually it was washed away, right? No matter how beautiful you looked, no matter how much people admired you, it's gone now. Washed off, down the drain, literally. So this dunya, the more you worry about it, the more it will make you dissatisfied and unhappy. And when a person makes his hum and gham the life of the hereafter, that's his main worry and concern, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fulfill all his needs. He will take care of him. He will provide him from where he cannot even imagine. I mean, look at the prophets of Allah. Look at the example of Maryam, the mother of Isa alayhi salam. She was a woman who used to live at the masjid, because that's what her mother had said. She had dedicated her child to the service of the deen. So she lived at the masjid, that is where she worshipped. She didn't have a social life, nothing like that. She never had a husband. She didn't get married, Right? She lived over there. She spent her time in learning and in worshipping. And then what happened? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not send her food? That the Prophet of Allah, Zakaria alayhi salam, was amazed at. Anna laki hada. Oh Maryam, where did you get this from? Where did this come from? And what would she say? Hada min indillah. This is from Allah. Allah sent it to me. So this is a reality. That when a person makes the akhirah his goal, that is his priority, Allah will fulfill his needs. You know in Hadith we learn that your rizq is written for you. The what is determined for you. How much, what you're going to get, what you're going to enjoy, is all written for you. You are not going to die until you get the last morsel of food you were meant to eat. Until you spend that last cent you were meant to spend. Every cent, every morsel you are meant to have, you are going to get it. So what is it that we should focus on? On the how. How are we getting it? How? In what way are we receiving it? In the Quran we learn about the example of the one whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the knowledge of His ayat, the knowledge of His verses, meaning divine knowledge of the Quran. And what happens is that this person, he's just too attracted to the world. He just loves it too much. Worldly pleasures, worldly enjoyment, he loves it too much. So what happens? He leaves the ayat, فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. And the word فَانْسَلَخَ is basically used for when a snake sheds its skin. A snake sheds its skin. What happens? The snake comes out and the skin is left behind. Right? He leaves it. So likewise, this person, he leaves the Quran, the religion of Allah, whatever knowledge that he has gained behind, and he moves on. He moves on. And what does he chase? This dunya. And when he chases it, Allah says, فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ. His example is like that of a dog. Like a dog. The one who has the potential to rise very high, to reach very high with the ayat of Allah, he leaves them and he goes after the chattels of this world. The temporary gains of this world. His example is like that of a dog. Greed, lust. And what happens to this dog? If you إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَثْ أَوْ تَتْرُكُهُ يَلْهَثْ. If you attack that dog, it will stick its tongue out. If you leave it, it will still hang its tongue out. Meaning, constantly you see that the tongue of a dog is out. And the tongue, what does that signify? Greed. That he's greedy all the time. Whether you advise him or you leave him, what does he want? Just enjoyment, just this dunya. He's greedy for the dunya. No matter where he goes, what's his concern? Where's the mall? Where's the stuff? What can I buy? What's the best deal over here? That's his concern. His concern is the dunya. What dunya? The dunya that he has to leave and the dunya that will leave him. He's going to go in the grave, and what does he have with him? Nothing. How sad is this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this life amazing opportunities to reach high levels of Jannah, and what are we satisfying ourselves with? Unfortunately, it is the world many times. So anyway, the angels, they are recording every single thing that a person is doing, that a person is saying, and in the hereafter, it is these deeds, it is these statements, the words that we say, that will materialize. Right now it's deeds, it's words, and tomorrow it will be the recompense that a person will receive for those words and actions. We learned that Imam Ahmad, when he was sick, he used to moan a lot, out of pain. Does it happen? That you have a headache and you're just sighing? Right? We sigh in pain a lot. So Imam Ahmad, he was sighing a lot like that. And then somebody told him, the Tawus, one of the scholars, he said that everything is written down. Everything is written down. Even a person's sighs and moves. So when Imam Ahmad learned about that, he stopped moaning. He didn't even sigh until he passed away. May Allah have mercy on him. So we see that every word meaningful or meaningless, whether it is saghira or kabira, it is recorded. It is recorded. In a hadith we learn that the angels, when they take the soul of a person's child actually, when they come and they take the soul of a person's child, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks them that what is it that my servant said? What is it that he said? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks them. And also in other hadiths we learn that when a person is sick, then Allah asks the angels that what is it that my servant said? This hadith is in Muwatta, that when the slave is ill, when a person is sick, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends 2 angels to him. And those angels, they look at what he says to his visitors. People come to visit sick people, right? So the angels, they come to see, especially what? What is it that the sick person will say to the visitors? If he praises Allah and glorifies Him, he says, Alhamdulillah, ala kulli hal, it's up to Allah. It could have been much worse. Alhamdulillah, I'm much better, and there must be some wisdom in this. So basically, he accepts Allah's decree, and he looks at it positively, and he says only positive words, praising Allah, glorifying Him. Then they take that up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He knows best about what His servant has said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the angels that if I make my slave die, I will make him enter Jannah. Why? Because of his patience and his praising me and his accepting my decree. I will make him enter Jannah. And if I heal him, I will replace his flesh with better flesh and his blood with better blood. And I will efface his evil actions. Meaning if I make him live, then inshallah, there will be cure for him. Better health than before. So the angels, what do we see? That they come especially to hear what a person is saying at the time of distress. And they take that report to Allah. And based on that report is going to be our result. In another hadith we learned that when a person's child dies, is it something easy? Not at all. If a woman is pregnant, and even in the very initial stages, there is a miscarriage, even though the gender of the child was not determined by that point, but still, it's a very difficult thing for the mother, for the father. It's a very difficult thing for the family. To lose an unborn child even is very difficult. So when a person's child dies, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks the angels, have you taken out the life of the child of my slave? You took my slave's child, his life away? You took his soul away? And they reply in the affirmative that yes, we did. Because obviously that's what they were asked to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks, have you taken the fruit of his heart? Meaning that child was the fruit of his parents' heart. Meaning his parents loved him. You took him away. You took him away. And the angels, they reply in the affirmative that yes, we did. Because that's what we were supposed to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks, what did my slave say? What did he say at that time? When you took the soul of his child away, what did he say? They say, he praised you and said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He said the right words at the right time. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, build a house for my slave in Jannah. And name it Baytul Hamd, the house of praise. Build a house for my servant in Jannah. Why? Because he praised me. He said the most appropriate words at the time of great distress. You know what happens with us? When everything's fine, we say positive words. Right? And it's easy to say that. You're not hurting, everything's good. Yes, you can sit down with your tasbih and say Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, Allah Akbar very easily. Even 100 times. I mean, people can go up to 100,000 times. You know how sometimes you hear that people do wird of a certain name of Allah 100,000 times? I mean, that's another discussion whether it's okay or not. But just think about it. How can you say something 100,000 times in a row? I remember when somebody told me that they prayed 100 nafil in one night or in one day for their exams. I was like, how did you do that? 100 nawafil? How did you do that? I mean, no matter how difficult it is, people do these things. You know when the real test is? When things are difficult. when we are hurt, when we're upset, when we're tired, when we're cranky, when we're agitated, what is it that we say at that time? When we're disappointed, what is it that we say at that time? Because that is what really matters. That is what counts a lot. Remember that story when there was a woman sitting by a grave and she was crying and crying and crying. So the Prophet ﷺ, he passed by and he exhorted her to be patient. So she said, you don't know what I've gone through? Don't tell me to be patient. So the Prophet ﷺ went away. That woman, she was told later, do you realize who he was? And she said, no. And she was told that was the Prophet ﷺ. So she felt so bad, she went in order to apologize to him. But what was she told? That patience is at the time when difficulty strikes. I mean, that is when you have to demonstrate patience, not now. Why are you apologizing to me? I mean, you should think about what you said at that time. Because it is at times of difficulty that we say either words which are going to go against us or words which are going to go in our favor. You know, like the Prophet ﷺ said that one word can take a person into hellfire, and one word, because of that one word, a person can go into Jannah. And the companions, they were amazed that one word, and the Prophet ﷺ said that yes, it is because of the tongue and the private parts that people will either go into hell or into Jannah, depending on how they use their tongue, what kind of words they say. So it is very, very important that we become conscious of this, that the angels are listening, they know, and they are recording, and this report is going to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, think about it. When there are certain people before us, we become very conscious about what we say and how we say. Like, for example, if you're out somewhere, and let's say you're in public somewhere, and your children are misbehaving, how are you going to correct them? Curse them and yell at them. Yeah? Is that how we correct them? No, we become so polite. Right? Johnny, come here. Sweetheart, please come here. Sweetheart, please don't do that. We become extra gentle and polite. Why? Because we know that people are listening. So I better behave. And the children are like, huh? How are you talking to me? We become so conscious. Now think about it. Whatever we are saying, that report is being taken to Allah Azza wa Jal. What report of ours do we want that should be shown to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because the angels are going to take it up. They're going to go tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about what we said, about what we did. In a hadith we learned the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the angels say, oh Lord, your slave wants to do something bad. Meaning when a person intends to do something bad, then the angels say, oh Lord, your slave wants to do something bad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about that. So Allah says, watch him. If he does it, then write it down as it is. And if he does not do it, then write it down as one hasanah for him. For he is abstaining from it because of me. So words, actions, and even intentions, the angels are familiar. Then there are also the angels who will test a person in the grave. What's their name? Munkar and Nakir. Who are they going to test? Which people? Which people are the Munkar and Nakir going to test? Do you know? Some people, huh? People who sin a lot and who don't believe. Yeah? Who? Our neighbors? Our husbands? Parents? Me. And you. Every single one of us. Just imagine, when we are going to be lying in our graves, no matter what grave it is, who's going to come? 2 angels are going to come. Every single one of us. Because when we hear about these things, we say, yeah, people. But we don't put ourselves in that situation. So when I read this hadith to you, think that deceased, that dead person is you. It's talking about you. The Prophet ﷺ said, when the deceased or one of you is buried, there come to him 2 black and blue angels. What does it mean by that? Black faces and blue eyes. One of whom is called Munkar and the other is called Nakir. They say, what did you used to say about this man? So the person says what he was saying before his death. Meaning, if he's a strong believer, What did he say at that time? That he is Allah's slave and His messenger. I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His slave and His messenger. So they said, we knew that you would say this. And then his grave is expanded to 70 by 70 cubits, and it is illuminated for him. It is filled with light. And then it is said to him, sleep. So he says, can I return to my family to inform them? They say, sleep as a newlywed whom none awakens but the dearest of his family until Allah resurrects him from his resting place. If that person was a hypocrite, he would say, I heard people say something, so I said the same. I do not know. Meaning he starts to panic and he forgets. And he says, yeah, I think people used to say something, so I used to say something like that too. I don't know. Don't ask me. So they say, we knew you would say that. So the earth is told, constrict him. So it constricts around him, squeezing his ribs together. And he continues being punished like that until Allah resurrects him from his resting place. In this hadith we learn about one question. And in other ahadith we learn that the Munkar Nakir will ask a person 3 questions. Every single one of us. And what are those 3 questions? Who is your Lord? What is your religion? And who is your prophet? Who was the man that was sent to you? Has it ever happened that you know about your phone number, but somebody asks you, just out of the blue, what's your phone number? And you're like, and you keep thinking, you keep trying to recall that phone number, and you cannot recall it. And then after a few moments you remember. Why is it that you forgot your own phone number? Why? Why did you forget? Why? Because it had been so long since you wrote it, or you dialed it, right? Or you gave it to somebody. It's been a long time. Likewise, if we have left the book of Allah, reciting the Quran for a long time, we don't remember Allah outside of our prayers at all. We don't do the dhikr of Allah. We don't remember Him in the morning. We don't remember Him in the evening. We don't remember Allah the first thing in the morning when we wake up. We don't remember Him just before going to sleep. We don't remember Him when stepping out of the house, when eating something, after eating something. Then how are we going to remember who Allah is at the time when we will be alone in the dark, being questioned by 2 scary looking angels? How are we going to remember? We only remember those things at all times that we are very conscious of generally. If we're not conscious of something, we can forget it very easily. And especially when we're scared, then we forget very easily. It happens sometimes with people that they go to write an exam. Or for example, they're doing their driver's test. Right? They're doing their driving test, and what happens? The one who's taking the test is very strict. Very strict. And what happens? They're looking at you head to toe, looking at every action. So you become too conscious. And when you become too conscious, then what happens is that you make mistakes that you generally don't make. Right? Why is it that you make those mistakes? Because you are panicking. You're afraid. So even though you've been practicing driving for the past 1 year, you make those silly mistakes. And as a result, you fail the test. Right? Aisha radiallahu anha, she said to the Prophet ﷺ that, oh Prophet, this ummah is going to be tested in the grave and I'm a weak woman. What's going to happen to me? I'm a weak woman. If the angels ask me, how am I going to answer? And the Prophet ﷺ said, يُثَبِّتُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِالْقَوْلِ الثَّابِتِ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. That Allah gives firmness to the people who believe. How? With the qawl al-thabit, meaning La ilaha illallah in this world and in the hereafter. Meaning a person who lives by La ilaha illallah in this life, he will have the ability to say, my Lord is Allah. The person who loves the Prophet ﷺ, follows his sunnah, pays attention to his sunnah, he will be able to say, yes, my Prophet is Muhammad ﷺ. Then he will remember him. He will remember him. The person whose goal in life is to live Islam, to live the religion properly, in every aspect, in every way, in his family life and also public life, in the way that he's making his money, in the way that he's living his life, in every way, everything is dictated by the religion. He will be able to say, yes, my religion is Islam. My religion is Islam. So the stronger a person's faith is, the stronger a person's amal is, then he will be able to answer these questions in the grave. So there are also the Munkar Nakir. Then there are also the angels who are appointed at the gates of Jannah. At the gates of Jannah. And the angels who will welcome the people in Jannah. Salamun alaykum. They will greet them with salam. They will open the gates, and when the people of Jannah have entered Jannah, they will welcome them. They will give them good news. Then there are also the angels who are appointed at hellfire. Malik, the Khazinun now, and those who are with him. Appointed at the gates of hellfire and also inside, giving the punishments to the people of hellfire. May Allah protect us from that.